Boltrix, can you make an ecoing tutorial? I haven't played for 1 year now. I don't know how to eco anymore. Gogeta Lover 911, I absolutely can do that for you. And with this tutorial, I'm going to be referencing to this comprehensive eco guide that was posted by the user Adam the Pig on the Battles 2 Reddit. This guide explains the different balloons players can use to eco and when to use each of them. And in case you're new to Battles 2, here's some of the basics. Eco is a term for the income that generates you money throughout the game. It gives you money every 6 seconds, called an eco tick. You know that green number in the top middle part of the screen? Yeah, that's your eco. Eco balloons refer to the balloons that players send to improve their eco, which will give them more money later on. They are not usually meant to kill the opponent. And there are 3 important concepts when choosing what balloons to send. First concept is efficiency, the amount of eco you get for each dollar you spend on the balloons. Units are eco per dollar. Second is speed, how fast you will get eco from sending the balloons. Units are eco gained per second. And the third concept is strength, how much defense your opponents will have to buy to defend the balloons, or how many lives they will leak to the balloons. And it really cannot be easily measured. Then today, we're really going to be focusing on ecoing with eco strategies, which tend to prioritize speed to get as much eco as quickly as possible. And here are 2 different charts that have every single eco balloon send in the game that we're going to be referring to quite often in this video. So let's get it. All right, and we're going to be starting off with the tack shooter here in the first game. And on rounds 1 through 2, we're going to be ecoing with grouped reds. You get 0.05 eco per dollar, and you get also 1.25 eco gained per second with sending grouped reds. And reds are slightly less efficient than space blues, but are over twice the speed. They are the same efficiency as space greens, but also faster. If you can force significant defenses or leaks with space greens, then they may be better, but otherwise, you should send grouped reds. And we're really going to be focusing on just eco sends with this video. So in regards to what I do exactly with upgrading and stuff, I might note here and there, but for the most part, again, we're focusing on that eco game. And here it's round 3. Now we're going to transition into group blues, which you get 0.0417 eco per dollar, and you gain 1.67 eco per second. Group blues are less efficient, but significantly faster than grouped reds. If you have an eco strategy, you should almost always send them round 3. And here on round 4, we're going to transition again, which I accidentally sent a few space yellows, which is not a big deal at all. But what I meant to send was ultimately space pinks. Space pinks are the same efficiency as grouped reds and just slightly slower than grouped blues. Some players prefer to send group blues on round 4 in stalled games, but Adam prefers to save more money for grouped greens and yellows in later rounds. And now here on round 5, you're going to transition again into grouped greens, which is 0.04 eco per dollar or 3.5 eco gained per second. Group greens send fast enough that you might not have enough money to keep them in queue at all times. This is called constant sending. If you can't constantly send, then you should send a couple of space whites to make sure something is always in the queue. And if you pay close attention for the rest of the game, you'll notice that I constantly do that throughout the early, mid-game, and even later game rounds. But here on round 6, space blacks are now what we're going to be sending, 0.0485 eco per dollar, but 2.13 eco gained per second. Space blacks don't cost much during this round. You should get more money and save for grouped yellows the next round, which is already round 7 here. Grouped yellows it is. I send these all the freaking time when using eco strategies, and you get 0.04 eco per dollar or 6.67 eco gained per second. Grouped yellows send very fast, and you will not have enough money to constantly send them. Once you get low on money, send a couple of space blacks, just like how you sent some space whites on round 5. And now here on round 8 through 9, we're going to go back to space blacks. Now you need to start saving for your round 11 defenses. Send space blacks to accumulate money while slowly gaining eco. And then here on round 9, it's situational, but you could send space zebras, which 0.045 eco per dollar or 4.5 eco gain per second. Space zebras are good if you think you will afford your round 11 defenses pretty easily. If you're worried about affording your round 11 defenses, then send space blacks in grouped reds instead. And here on round 10 through 11, yes, grouped reds. Because we've lost space whites and space blacks, grouped reds are now the most efficient balloons. But you have to make sure, again, that you can afford your round 11 defenses. As you notice here in this game, I still didn't have enough money to go for the Ring of Fire. So thankfully, I could use my level 3 cocktail ability on Scientist Gwendolyn, got up finally the Ring of Fire, and I have the Radar Scanner Village for round 12 camo balloons. And here on round 12, Space Rainbows, 0.0412 eco per dollar or 10 eco gain per second. Space Rainbows send very fast and are reasonably efficient, but they are only available for a single round. If you need money for your round 13 defenses, then don't send too many, which, yeah, it got a little bit close here in this game, but we were able to afford everything. And now during these mid-game rounds, rounds 13 through about round 17, you're going to be ecoing with Groot Black Balloons, which it's 0.04 eco per dollar or 9.3 eco gained per second. Groot Blacks have the same efficiency as Groot Yellows and Whites, but they send faster. Use them to eco until you can afford to constantly send Groot Pinks. And if you notice here in this game, our opponent tried rushing us multiple times, which I guess he doesn't understand how OP the TAC Village combo is, especially after you get that Ring of Fire. Notice too how our opponent just set down a banana farm here on round 16. I mean, better late than never, but yeah, definitely caught me off guard a bit. And again, look at how I'm constantly sending these Groot Blacks, and then look, I had a little bit of money left over right there to send just one Groot Green. So I'm using up every dollar possible to eco as much as I can every 6 seconds or every income boost, however you want to word it. And now it's round 17 and I still only have 1500 eco, and I normally personally like to transition into Groot Pinks once I hit 1750 eco exactly, because once you have that amount of eco, then you are able to constantly send pink balloons without running out of money. But Adam says here in the guide, round 17 through about round 25, you eco with Groot Pinks, which gives 0.0383 eco per dollar and 11.5 eco gain per second. Groot Pinks are slightly less efficient than Blacks, but they send much faster. As soon as you can afford to constantly send Groot Pinks, you should switch to them. Eventually, you should stop sending them to save money for your defenses. The optimal time to stop is 2 minutes and 37 seconds before you need your defenses. If you think that the game will end with round 30 BADs or ZOMGs, then stop ecoing around round 25. And the last thing that Adam lists is at around round 19 through about round 21, you can eco with grouped zebras, 0.0292 eco per dollar or 14.58 eco gained per second. Grouped zebras are much less efficient, but slightly faster than pinks. It takes 6 minutes and 30 seconds for them to pay off more than pinks would. In most games, you should not send grouped zebras. Only send them if you think the game will go to at least round 34 plus, and even then you should switch back to pinks in the early to mid 20s. You'll probably notice here, I send grouped zebras in this game super late. But the thing is, with all of what we just talked about, we did not accommodate for the village, which if you go for the bottom path upgrades on a monkey village, you get a 10% additional more eco from sending all eco balloons, and then on top of that, an additional 10% once you go for the 4th tier upgrade. So that is super important to know, and a lot of times when I use eco strategies, I end up using the monkey village. So I'm getting 10% more with the Monkey Town, and then the Monkey City upgrade, I'm getting an additional 10% more. So you're getting way more eco than normal. By the way, our opponent actually used the level 10 ability on Star Captain Jericho to send that fortified VFB into hyperspace, which puts it like, I think 10 or 15% the way through the track. So I had to use my level 10 ability, just double overdrive though, Ring of Fire and level 3 cocktail, was able to defend against that. So after you transition into pink/zebras, then there's not really much else that you do. You just constantly eco with those. But again, as you notice, I'm about to go for actually right there, just went for the village upgrade, the bottom path village, and then I immediately transition into zebras. But then notice that he sent us a fortified ZOMG. So I go back to group pinks here, because I want to make sure that I'm still ecoing constantly. But at the same time, a fortified ZOMG, guys, it's $11,000 to send that. Our opponent's farm game is not good. His defense is too all over the place. This guy has been super aggressive. So I could read him as an opponent. Like, I knew what to expect from this guy. And that's why with ecoing in general, everything is so situational. Because some games are super stalled out because you don't pop the AI balloons immediately. So eco is time dependent. The game just lasts longer and you have a lot more eco, therefore you have a lot more money. Or you get players like this that pop the balloons pretty much ready to come out the map. That's what this guy was definitely trying to do. But here I used my level 10 ability. I went for a super maelstrom. Use that ability, tower boosted just to be safe. Probably didn't need a tower boost, but again, I just wanted to be safe. Now it's round 26 here. He immediately sends me a fortified DDT. I had to go for a super glue. Sold the bottom path village in order to afford the super glue. So kind of sucks that we had to do that, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Guys, this guy was insanely aggressive once again. So again, everything is situational. So take everything that I said and that Adam said in this guide with a grain of salt, because you can't follow it to an absolute T. It's just a generalization, I guess, because every game is super, super different. One game, your opponent could be super passive and not send you a single rush, so you can have like an insane amount of eco. Other games, you get an opponent like this, where they're super, super aggressive, which, by the way, I could have also been aggressive back at my opponent. I just never decided to, because I knew that this was the idea for this video, to focus on showing you guys how to properly eco and stuff. So I kind of just wanted to focus on that. But dude, we could easily rush our opponent right here, right now with a DDT. He would definitely die 100,000%. But note that when sending rushes, it depletes your eco. So when you do send a rush, make sure it's 100% worthwhile, because it's going to deplete your eco, which obviously is not a very, very good thing. But here now, I stopped ecoing. I don't even know when I stopped ecoing, but in my opinion, you should stop ecoing around 4 rounds before you think the game will end, which with the way that this guy was playing, I thought for sure he was going to rush us immediately on round 30. So 4,400 eco isn't really all that great, but again, because of this game and everything, we just couldn't really get it all that high. But here on round 30, got the super glue, got the primary expertise as well, which up to tier 2 upgrades are all free on all primary towers. So that's why I wanted to go for as many tack shooters as I could inside the range of the primary expertise. I mean, look at my opponent, by the way. He had to tower boost to an unfortified BFB within the AI. Because of ramping and everything, BFBs, mobs, just all mob class balloons, they all get faster, stronger, everything. So that's why he was really, really struggling. And again, I just didn't want to be aggressive. I just wanted to see if he would rush us once again. So that's why I'm preparing my defenses with going with a ton of tack shooters here. And now it's round 32. And on round 32, it's a pretty big deal, because you can now send fast cooldown fortified BADs, or just unfortified BADs, just BADs in general. Whereas on round 30 and 31, you can only send spaced BADs, which, by the way, our opponent had to again tower boost. So I'm sitting on so much cash right now. I thought about even rushing him with something just to see if he would counter with DDTs, which, by the way, if he were to, we would be absolutely fine since we have a super glue. But he's going to send another hyperspace rush with that level 10 ability. Hyper dense ZOMGs here. Unfortified, though. I'm like, dude, this is a piece of cake. Easily just go for the super maelstrom here. That's going to be the best and most solid way for us to defend against this. And I even thought about going for a balloon solver as well, since the balloon solver is pretty good cleanup. As you guys can see on my opponent's side, yeah, he ended up dying to the fortified mob within the AI. So that game was definitely a little strange, but I mean, at the same time, he was super, super aggressive. Okay, that can definitely happen. Or again, you can have an opponent that doesn't really send you a rush all the way until round 30 fortified BADs. So again, with everything that I said, this is all super, super situational. It can depend on how your opponent is, how stalled out the game is, just a lot of different factors that can switch up this eco flow chart. But again, this is just a generalization, okay? Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this game as well, just to show you how different it can be depending on how stalled out the rounds are, and just, again, a lot of different factors. But here on round 27 in this game, we were able to achieve 5701 eco. So obviously, the more eco, the merrier, because we're just going to have more overall money. And despite our opponent having all their defenses more towards the front of the map, they actually aren't technically popping all the balloons immediately, because the defenses really aren't all that good. And by the way, this is like super, super random, but with going for the bottom path village upgrades as well, I personally light to eco with Groot pinks until I achieve that 4th tier bottom path upgrade on the village. And then I'll transition into zebras for like maybe 1 or 2 rounds. Again, it depends. And I'm not exactly sure if that's the most efficient and effective way to eco, but when I use eco village strategies, that is what I personally do, since again, it's very important to get those bottom path upgrades, since you can literally get more eco from ecoing, you know? And remember, this guide is only for eco strategies. And an eco strategy is a strategy that your main source of income is coming from your eco game. We don't have any sources of alt eco besides the Monkeyopolis on the village, which barely counts, but we don't have like druid farms or heli farms, nothing like that. Even banana farms, we have no sources of alt eco again. So this guide is specifically for eco strategies, but if you guys want to see an eco tutorial for both farm and alt eco strategies, maybe even both farms as well, let me know down in the comment section below, because the eco flowchart and everything definitely is a lot different than what it is for pure eco strategies like this one that we're currently using, okay? And it's round 31. Notice how I got back to ecoing here. That is because I noticed that my opponent is currently ecoing. So if they're ecoing, they're spending their money on their eco game, and they're also like upgrading their defenses. I noticed that periodically. So they don't really have the money or the funds to even rush us. We have the life advantage. We have the late game dominant strategy compared to his as well. So I was like, why not increase the eco game a little bit? Again, this goes back to, it depends on the situation, it depends on what your opponent's doing, and a lot of other different things. But if you guys have any questions too, over anything that we covered in today's video, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'm going to try to respond to as many questions as I can, because I know it's like super hard to explain every little detail. There's got to be questions that people have out there, because honestly, although this is a monkey popping balloon game, it's super complex at the same time when you really think about it, because there's a lot of math involved. There's a lot of efficiency, speed, all of those things once a freaking again. But here it's still round 34, guys, and our opponent is not rushing us. But actually, scratch that. They finally sent the first fortified BAD. I sold the Monkeyopolis because I upgraded that bottom path village to a Monkeyopolis. I forget when, but went for a homeland defense, glue storm, and tower boosted. Level 10 ability as well. Bro, look at how fast we shredded that. Look at how fast. Obviously a bit overkill. We did not need a tower boost. He says stop that too. Our opponent's literally saying stop that. Oh, he was, I don't know if he was salty or if he was just amazed at how fast we shredded that. But again, we could have killed this guy, or maybe, yeah, probably with like an unfortified BAD or maybe a fortified BAD. But for the sake of the video, for the sake of the guide and everything, I just wanted to be center rush, and I really just wanted to focus on the eco game. But then here on round 36, he actually ended up just surrendering to me. So, I mean, he did not have a chance of winning. So I guess it's fair that he ended up doing that. But that is the eco guide for eco strategy specifically in Battles 2 2024 edition. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section below, and go check out the guide as well on the Battles 2 Reddit. I'll link it down below in the description. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out this banger of a video where this $15,000 upgrade is actually too powerful.